We have a couple of individuals that we thought were going to be here this evening. They may be arriving a little bit late, but I want to go ahead and acknowledge them right now. So former Mayor Vincent Gray, I want to acknowledge him for the partnership and working with DC Water on a number of different things that we do throughout the day. And then Antoine Holmes, the A&C for 7C Chair and A&C Commissioner here. And then the Deanwood Citizens Association. I want to acknowledge them as well. And then also the Deanwood Rec Center. This is a fantastic center. This is great investments have been made here. So I'm very impressed with this rec center. So I want to thank all of them for hosting us this evening. So my name is David Gaddis. I am the CEO of DC Water. And I'll be leading tonight's presentation. And Matt Brown will play a huge role in talking about the rate changes that will be made here in the district. But before we get started, we always at DC Water try and start every meeting, if we can, with a safety moment. And you'll see in some of my slides later on how much safety means to us at DC Water. So I've asked George Porter tonight to give us the safety moment. So George?
Thank you, David. Appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. George is also our new director of safety as well. So for those of you that don't know George.
Good evening, everyone. Good to see everybody out this evening. I'm going to talk real briefly about two things in regards to safety, especially during the summertime, and they both revolve around our children. Number one, our seatbelting our kids when we have them inside of our cars and our vehicles, moving around. It's extremely important. That's number one. Number two, with school ending, more children out, we need to make sure that we take the necessary precautions in driving a little bit slower through our neighborhoods and through high traffic areas where we have pedestrians around, especially as our children, for us who have small children and small grandchildren, we know how quick they move, we know how they can dart out very, very quickly, so we just need to make sure that we, as we're driving around, that we slow down just a little bit, take that little extra time, because you never know when a small child's gonna dart out chasing a small animal, chasing a ball, playing in neighborhoods. You just never know. So please, ma'am, please, sir, take that under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, brother. Thank you. I was going to say, give that microphone back to Lisa, because we do not want to get her upset. So, well, I'll start out the presentation. Thank you very much for this evening. We have done presentations in 6 wards thus far. So this is the 7th one this evening. So we're almost at the end, and it has been fantastic to get out in each and every one of the communities and really hear what people have to say, listen, and also take in questions that they may have. So at the end of this, we will take on any questions that you may have. I will tell you right before we get started, we do have our customer service group with us this evening in the back of the room. So any of you that have questions about your actual bills, you're more than happy to go to the back and also sit down with them, and they'll try and help you out with your bill. One of the other housekeeping rules or the housekeeping items is there are 2 food trucks outside. Don't everybody get up at once, that have sliders and custard, and that's on DC Water. So if you're hungry or whatever, you want to get up and go grab yourself something, please do it. But don't get up. Wait until I get done, okay? So, okay. I wanted to start out and say, 11 months ago I came to DC Water. And one of the first things that I identified at DC Water was that we had a strategic plan. The strategic plan was one that was done by the board of directors and then given to the organization to fulfill. A number of the things in the strategic plan were done very, very quickly and early on in that 1 year or 2 year process, and they were completed really early. So we then decided to come up with a new strategic plan and a framework for such. And we've called that strategic plan, we've named it the Blueprint, of course. And it has been one in which we're trying to but we need to know where we're going, and we know that, and then also how do we get there. And then we also talk a little bit about, in the blueprint, the vision, the mission, and those sort of things. So the mission for DC Water You can see it here. Exceed expectations by providing high quality water services in a safe, environmentally friendly, and efficient manner. That's what we live by on a day-to-day basis. And that's how we run the authority/utility. Vision. We will be known for the superior service, ingenuity, and stewardship to advance the health and well-being of our diverse workforce and communities. My presentation that I'm making tonight, this isn't just about DC Water from the standpoint us internally. This is about community engagement. This is about the customer. And we have a true focus on the customer as we move forward. My favorite slide here, though, is the values. This is what we have to live by on a day-to-day basis at DC Water. And I challenge all of our employees to live by it, and we should challenge each other in whatever format it may be. Some of us in our conference rooms, we have the different cards, the tents, that have each one of these values on it. And we can lay them out in the front of people whenever we think that we're not doing what we should be doing or that we want to exhibit that type of behavior. Accountability. You should hold us accountable. The public should hold us accountable. We should hold ourselves accountable. That's the accountability piece. Trust. We have to trust each other. We have to trust the individual we're working beside. We want the community to trust us. We want to be the trusted utility. That is who we want to be, and that's who we should be on a day-to-day basis. Teamwork. Teamwork working internally. Teamwork working with the public. Customer focus. I've got a slide in here later on where I will talk about our customer service department. They have performed admirably in the last year. They have done a fantastic job, and I'm very, very proud of that part of our organization. And it takes that teamwork to get there. And then safety and well-being. We talked a little bit about that. Safety is a focus of ours at DC Water. And it's not only keeping our employees safe, but it's also keeping the public safe while we're out there working in the streets and those sort of things. So that is very, very important to us at DC Water, is safety and well-being. Our strategic programs. We've taken a look at what do we need to do in order not only to advance the authority, but also meet the goals and the expectations that we have for ourselves. Customer engagement, and this isn't in any particular order, but customer engagement is a huge focus of ours. We want to be transparent. We want the public to give us the feedback. We want to hear what the public has to say. That is the only way we get better at what we do, is by listening to what the public has to say. Driving performance. That is something that if we're not measuring it, then we're probably not doing it. And if we're not measuring it, then there's no reason for us to do it. So we want to measure our performance. So Wayne Griffith has come on to the organization from about 8 months ago. Wayne, if you'll raise your hand. Wayne is leading us down that performance path as an organization. And you know, we want to drive performance on a day-to-day basis. We not only want to measure against ourselves and our past performance, but we want to measure ourselves against the best utilities in the country. We want to be leading edge on a day-to-day basis. Resiliency, readiness, enterprise risk management. This is a key. I'll talk about this a little bit more later as well. We've only got one source of water in DC, one source of water. And we'll talk about that one source of water a little bit later. The employee experience, very, very important to us as an organization. I want our organization to be the preferred employer. When you think about getting into the water industry or the wastewater industry, we want people all over the country to say, DC Water is where I want to be. But the only way we get there is by our employees being able to sell DC Water to others. I want our employees, when they leave work, to say, hey, you need to go to work at DC Water. That's a great place. And that leads us down that path of the things that I talk about with our employees are pay, place, and people. We want to make sure everyone is paid equitably. We want to make sure that it's a great place to work. And we want to make sure they're working with great people. So it's the 3 Ps for us as an organization. And then occupational safety, again, you'll see safety a lot. It is important. And one reason safety is so important to me, and we probably heard over the last few days what happened at Virginia Beach, the shooting there. as a result of that, what I do, and we also had an incident in Baltimore this week as well, where an employee passed away. What I want to be able to do, the last thing I want to do is have to make that phone call to someone's loved ones to say that we've lost them or that we've injured them severely. That's not what I want to do. What I owe and what our team owes every single employee is, if you come to work in a safe manner and working and having all your faculties, it is our job to send you home the exact same way to your loved ones. That's our job, and that's what we should do, and that's our pledge to our employees. Objectives, 2018, 2019, our objectives as an organization. We wanted to change the culture. We wanted to move away from the silo approach as an organization. We want to work together as more as a team. We need to understand that when we do something as an organization, it has an effect on another part of the organization. That's very, very important to us. Become a cost conscious and create savings type of organization. It would not be right for us to be here tonight talking about a 5.7% increase if we haven't looked under every crevice, looked under every rock to find the savings. And we'll talk about the savings that we've been able to create thus far. And then return to blocking and tackling. What that means is we have to look at what we do on a day-to-day basis and make sure it's the right things. We're an innovative utility and authority. But what we really want to do as well is we've got to get good at the things that we do every single day. And if we're not good at it, we've got to get better at it. And if we don't need to do it, we need to stop doing it because it's a waste of time. So we've got to look at the blocking and tackling on a day-to-day basis. The actions as an organization. When I first came here, one of the things I wanted to do was to look at our organizational design as an organization and begin to make sure that the right clusters or the right departments were working together or were in the same part of the organization. And I'll give you a quick example. We took our emergency management group that was over on the operations side and we moved it into our administrative group that includes the security, the safety, and now the emergency management group. It only made sense for all three of those to be together under the same umbrella, working together very, very well. Organizational development and improvement. Performance management, strategic plan, process improvements, and vulnerability assessment. All of these things were very, very important to us as an organization, and we've moved forward on each and every one of those items. Mergers, acquisitions, sales, and organizational design. Some of you may have heard of an organization that is a subsidiary of ours called Blue Drop. I've taken Blue Drop and began to try and reorganize Blue Drop and have it do some different things than what it's done in the past. It will continue to be the sales arm and the marketing arm for Bloom, but we're asking them to take a look at some of our other products like Pipe Sleuth and our water fountain and these things that we have that are our IP that we own and we've designed and developed, and to go out and begin to sell and market those items as well. And then the last one is leadership development and executive coaching. When I came to DC Water, one of the things I wanted to do was to get out and touch the people, touch the organization. What I did was I held road shows, touched 1,100 employees on 4 different occasions. And what I heard, the number one resounding thing I heard from individuals in the organization was they wanted training. They wanted to be developed. They wanted the opportunity to do things different than what they do. That's why we designed the Walk in My Shoes program. We've taken a look at getting executive coaches for a number of directors and leadership within the organization. So we're trying to answer that question for the employees. Real quick, and I'll try and get through these quickly. This is an important one though. This goes back to the savings. What we've been able to do in 11 months through the budget is save $27 million by renegotiating contracts, optimizing and reducing usage of major chemicals, generating our own energy and electricity at Blue Plains, reduce reliance on consultants. That equated to that $27 million. We would be having a different discussion tonight if we hadn't been able to make some of the tough choices and the team at DC Water be able to make a number of the tough choices to eliminate $27 million out of the budget. we'd be standing here tonight talking about a 12% increase instead of a 5.7% increase. And I think that's important because the team has done a fantastic job of addressing a number of items. We're going to continue to look for savings and take cost out of the business. We're not going to stop. Customer service. The numbers speak for themselves. 2018, they took in 169,000 phone calls, which is more than what they took in 2017, 163,000 phone calls. They answered 88% of those calls in 40 seconds. For some of you that don't know the industry, maybe that's hitting the mark. The next piece will be to be able to get to where you're answering 88% in 30 seconds as we ratchet this up. But that's a heck of a deal what they've done. That's 4% better than what they did in 2017. But the important piece here is 50% of the complaints dropped. A 50% drop in complaints. Fantastic job by the customer service group. And then also, while doing all of that, they implemented a new CIS system, brought it in on time, under budget. Also put in 87,000 new AMI meters. Fantastic job by the customer service group. Jobs. I don't see Corey here yet, or I don't know if he was coming tonight, but I always give Corey accolades and the human capital group with Keith Lindsay leading them. But 99 jobs we filled, and 67 of them went to DC residents. We're about DC. That's what we're about. We want to fill jobs with DC residents. We've developed an apprenticeship program. We have an aging workforce. That doesn't mean we want employees to leave. We want to keep our employees forever because we have the best employees there are in the industry. But one day they're going to leave us, and we need to make sure that we have people that can step into those roles. So we've developed an apprenticeship program. We developed Walk in My Shoes program. We have summer interns, and some of them are here tonight. They've been here with us every night. They've been great. But we have 46 paid summer internship jobs. We want those individuals one day to become employees of DC Water, and that's important to us. Supporting local businesses, buying DC. We want businesses in DC to prosper and grow. As a result, these are some of the numbers and some of the marks we've been able to hit. I will put our minority and women business-owned enterprise program up against any utilities program that there is in the country. And I've had the luxury and the pleasure of working with some of the biggest utilities in the country, ranging from Miami to New York to LA. This program is fantastic, what we have here in DC. Clean Rivers Project. This program has been fantastic. It has had an impact on DC, I think, unlike any other program that there is. The Anacostia River, the Forgotten River. If it wasn't for what we've done with the tunnels, the Navy Yards doesn't exist. I don't know if any of you saw the Navy Yards 10, 15, 20 years ago. The wharf doesn't exist. Nobody wants to build multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar businesses or buildings on a river that doesn't look good. We have impacted DC from an economic impact standpoint. The tunnel has outperformed itself. It has come in where we're doing 10% better than what we thought it was going to do. It's capturing 90% of what it was supposed to. Fantastic project, and it's done a great job here in DC thus far. My last slide here is we put together a group called the Stakeholder Alliance Group. When I first came to DC, and at my first meeting with Councilmember Che at a hearing, I was sitting on one side of the table, and on another side of the table were a number of individuals that had issues with us as an organization. And one of the things I said to Vince after that meeting was, I want those people on our side of the table. So we put together the Stakeholder Alliance Group. We brought them into the DC Water tent. We wanted them to become part of the solution. Not just tell us the issues and the problems, but we said, help us with the solutions. And so we met with them, we sat with them. we took on new ideas from them. We tried to implement some of those ideas. Some of the things you're going to hear here tonight from Matt are the things that they actually brought to the table for us to implement at DC Water. And so this is a fantastic group that I've had an opportunity to watch grow and develop and mature. And again, they are part of the solution. And so the DC Water staff, including Vince and others, have done a fantastic job of building this group up and standing it up. And I appreciate that. So what I'll do now is I will turn it over to Matt, and then I'll come back later and speak to you a little bit more about the things that we're doing at DC Water in the future. And this is Matt Brown, our CFO. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you. My name is Matt Brown. I'm the CFO for DC Water. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the rate change that we're proposing that has to do with the Clean Rivers program that Mr. Gaddis, the CEO, talked about. But first, I want to give a little bit of an education. We do some strange things in the water industry. One is the way, a couple of those are the way we measure things. So on the left, I'm going to explain CCF. CCF is the unit that we sell water to you in. That's how we measure it. It means 100 cubic feet, or about 748 gallons. There are another two hash marks that are on that big barrel, and they're to represent 2 points. One, the first 4 CCFs, if you live in a household in the district, you're discounted for the first 4 CCFs of water that you purchase from DC Water. That's about 2,992 gallons. But the average customer in DC uses 6.2 CCFs, and that's the higher line. That's about 4,638 gallons. That is going to become relevant in a little bit when I talk about the rates. The other thing I want to talk about is ERU, or Equivalent Residential Unit. And that's the way we bill for the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. And that's how, to date, we've paid for 100% of the Clean Rivers program, that $2.7 billion program. And the rate proposal that we're here to talk to you about tonight changes, is a proposed change in the way that we collect revenue to pay for that big and important program. So to date, as I said, and you see this on the pie chart on the left, 100% of the money that we collect for the Clean Rivers program comes from the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. And all of our customers pay it, whether it's for this building, the District of Columbia pays, whether it's your house, commercial buildings, churches, every building in DC, or every impervious area, which could include parking lots and other things, pay the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. And all of that money goes to help us pay for the Clean Rivers program and to build those big tunnels. What we're proposing is to change the way that we collect for the Clean Rivers program. And we're proposing eventually to shift 37% of the costs. Next year, it's about $120 million that we need for to build those tunnels. And we're going to shift some of that from the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge to the sewer volumetric rate. And this is why. We heard from many of our customers, especially the Stakeholder Alliance that Mr. Gaddis talked about, that they didn't think that it was fair the way we were collecting for the Clean Rivers program. And here's an example. And this is a real-life example. A woman in Ward 5 came up to me, and I think it was the same meeting that Mr. Gaddis talked about, where we had some customers who were not very happy with us. But what she said to me was, listen, I live on 1,000 square feet of property. It's the size of a typical townhouse in Washington, D.C. I don't use a whole lot of water. Her example, she uses 2 CCFs of water, which is about a third of an average household customer. And I'm paying the same thing every month that this multifamily customer across the street is paying for the Clean Rivers program. Before I use a drop of water, I'm paying $23 or $25 for the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. And we heard this over and over again from our customers. Mr. Gray, welcome. Would you like to say a few words? Yeah. Good to see you, sir.
Man, I'm sorry to
Oh, you're good.
presentation.
Sure, Mr. Mayor.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Well, I'm delighted to be out here with DC Water and with our still brand new, right? CEO, Dave Gaddis, all the way from Indianapolis. Dave, we're glad to have you again, and I've had the opportunity to meet with him and to talk about some of the important water issues that we have here in the District of Columbia. And I think for most people, when you talk about the importance of water, it's the importance of the cost at this stage, the CREAC. And, you know, we've made enormous progress in terms of being able to address some of the pollution in the Anacostia River. and some of the overflow that's been a problem for us. But it all comes at a cost, right? It all costs us money, and we want to be able to make sure that we get to the point that we've often said, and that is that the Anacostia River, for example, will become fishable and swimmable. And so I want to thank you, Dave, and welcome again to the District of Columbia. I also want to thank Vince Morris, a longtime friend. He is Mr. Problem Solver. So I don't want to interrupt the presentation. Matt, I want to thank you for the work that you're doing at DC Water. So I'm going to turn it back over to Matt at this stage so he can continue on with the presentation. I am glad to see a number of people out here tonight and not a room full of people who are yelling and screaming about the water bill that they got most recently. So I know we've got some opportunities with grants and other approaches that are helping to be able to mitigate some of the increases that we've seen in water costs over the last however many months. So again, thank you all very much for being out here tonight. And I understand we're going to have a little food a little later also. So again, enjoy the rest of your evening, and let's work hard to make sure we continue to clean up our waterways here in the District of Columbia, which DC Water is playing such an important role in. And with that having been said, Matt, I'm going to turn it back over to you. Thank you very much. How about another big hand for Matt Brown?
Thank you. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Good to see you. All right, so we've been talking about the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge and how that's paying for the Clean Rivers program and some of the equity concerns that we heard from some of our customers. And again, there was a woman who happened to live in Ward 5 who gave me this example. She lived in a single-family home that was the same size, had the same number of ERUs, the same amount of impervious area as a multifamily building across the street. And the multifamily building had a lot more toilets flushing and showers running, and so a lot more water was being used. And we heard that there were some concerns about equity. So under our current proposal, the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge, which was projected to be $25.58, is going to decrease to $20.94. And there's a corresponding increase on the water and sewer charge. So the lady who lives in the single-family home will get a small discount on her bill. It would have been $62.21 and goes to $59.07. And the multifamily building on the right, because more water is being used, will pay a little bit more. And this is why. We sat down with the engineers who are working on those big tunnels, and we told them about this problem, and they sat down, and we asked them to help us figure out what kind of water is getting into those tunnels. We know that it's coming from wastewater, when you flush the toilet, but it's also coming from rainwater. And so we asked them to help us figure out how much of the capacity of the tunnels is being used by wastewater. And they figured out that it's about 37%. And if you remember from the slides a couple slides ago, what we're proposing is eventually a 37% shift. We're proposing to phase it in, 18% the first year, 28% the next year, and 37% by year 3 to help prevent rate shocks. We know that the impact is going to be unique by customer. Every customer has a different size impervious area. Every customer uses a different amount of water. We know that customers who don't use a whole lot of water are generally going to pay less, so it's a benefit, especially for customers like the woman that I spoke about. Average residential customers, if you use 6.2 CCFs of water and you have 1 ERU of impervious area, you're going to pay exactly the same. So that's cost neutral. The other thing that is a real benefit of this program, it gives you more control over how much you pay for the Clean Rivers program. Before, when everything was being assessed on an equivalent residential unit, that ERU or the impervious area charge, you didn't have any control about how much you paid for the program. If you had that impervious area, you paid. This gives customers a little bit more control over how much they pay for the program. If you use less water, you'll pay less for the Clean Rivers program. The other thing that we heard from our customers is that there's a program that the District Department of Energy and the Environment operates. It provides incentives. So if you install a rain barrel or a rain garden or some other kind of solution that helps remove stormwater from the drain, helps prevent runoff, that we would provide a 4% discount on the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. 4% isn't a whole lot of money, especially after customers have gone through this program with DOEE. And so our board is considering a proposal to raise that discount to 20%. And so that's something that's been incorporated in our proposal. This is what the rate structure looks like. I'm going to walk through it. If you want to, we have copies. If you want to take a copy home, and I'm going to point out where the rate proposal is different this year than it was last year. The first section are our water rates. If you live in a home in the District of Columbia, for the first 4 CCFs of water, if you'll remember that barrel I showed you at the beginning, you'll pay $3.06 in what we call the lifeline rate. Once you go over 4 CCFs, you'll pay $4.10 per CCF. Multifamily customers will pay $3.54 per CCF, and non-residential customers, that's everybody else, everybody that's not a residential customer or a multifamily customer, will pay $4.25. The big change in this proposal is with the sewer rate. Right now, the current sewer rate is $7.75 per CCF. It would have gone to $8.14 under the previous proposal. What we're proposing now is $8.89, and that's because we're shifting some of those Clean Rivers costs to the sewer rate. So the sewer rate had to go up so that the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge could go down. The pilot and the right-of-way fee are 2 fees that we collect from customers, and then those are paid to the District of Columbia government. The other charge is that one in the very top line that is impacted by the proposal. So the current Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge is $23. It would have been $25.58. Instead, the proposal is $20.94. Your bill also contains a stormwater fee that goes to the District Department of Energy and Environment, as well as some fees that are based on the size meter that you have. The first one is the customer metering fee. That's how we pay to go out and read your meter, mail you a bill, answer your calls when you call in and have questions about your bill. That's $3.86 and will remain $3.86. And finally, the water system replacement fee. Again, will stay the same, $6.30, remains $6.30. That's what we use to pay. We collect about $40 million a year, and we're replacing 1% of our water infrastructure every year. This is what it looks like on a typical household bill. The column on the left is the current year, FY19. FY20 is the proposal. I've had some questions in the past about what is the fiscal year, and it's a good question. These rates are anticipated to go into effect on October 1. October 1 is the beginning of our fiscal year. So for water and sewer rates, the average customer will pay $76.38. Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge will decrease to $20.94. The metering fee and the water system replacement fee remain the same. One's $3.86, the other $6.30. The District of Columbia charges are then added to that. They're a total of $7.01 for a total household charge of $114.49. And you see the 5.7% increase that Mr. Gaddis talked about earlier. That's the increase for the average household customer. Again, we know that this proposal is going to impact each customer individually. And so what we've done is we've built an online tool. And with just a few pieces of information, you can go in and see how this proposal will affect you. So you need your water bill. You'll need to know your customer type. If you live and again, they're residential, non-residential, and multifamily. You'll need to know your meter size. Your meter size is on your bill. You'll need to know your water usage, and that's in CCFs. And then you'll need to know your ERUs, the equivalent residential unit, which is the measure of your impervious area. And it'll spit out information. It'll tell you what you're paying now, what you would be paying next year before this proposal, and then what you'll be paying with this proposal. We want to make sure that everybody knows about the Customer Assistance Program. This is a program that's been in effect for a long time. Since 2001, we provided customer discounts if you qualify for nearly $12 million. If you qualify, and you qualify based on income, the first 4 CCFs of water, the pilot, and the right-of-way are provided for free. There's a full discount on the water system replacement fee. There's a 50% discount on the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. And this is what it looks like on the bill. For the average customer, again, who uses 6.2 CCFs of water, you can save 58.8% off your bill. But we didn't stop there. This year, our board and the District of Columbia worked together to expand the customer assistance programs. And this is something that Mayor Gray was talking about. The CAP program is in that first column. If you have a family of 4 and make less than $59,457, you qualify for that program, and we want you to take advantage of it. And the discounts are provided there. It's about $63.16 off the average household bill. 2 new programs that are for residential customers. The first one is called CAP 2. It's for households with families of 4, $93,750 or less. provides discounts for the first 3 CCFs of water used, a 50% discount on the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge, and so it's a discount of $43.48 a month. So that can really add up. And then there's the CAP 3 program. It's funded by the district government. It's for household incomes up to $117,200. And again, that's based on family of 4. The scale depends on income and household size. I've shown families of 4 here so you can get a good idea of if you might qualify for the program. And then that provides a 75% discount just on the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge, but it's $17.25 a month. So those are the residential customer programs. I've got some information if you want to see the income scale. We have customer service people in the back who can help you. We direct you to the right place. The income verification is done through DOEE, so that's where you'll go first. For non-residential customers, especially nonprofits, and this is the Nonprofit Relief Program, if you work through the District Department of Energy and Environment, and this is especially important for churches, soup kitchens, other houses of worship that are having a hard time with the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge, the district has funded a program that can provide up to 90% off the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. This is some information. It's probably more helpful in the handout, but it helps describe the income requirements for the various programs that I talked about. If you think you qualify, the best thing to do is call 311. DOE, you can also visit the DOEE website, or if you have questions, you can talk to me afterwards or customer service in the back. We are, in addition to having the 8 town hall meetings and 2 meetings with the business community to discuss the rate proposal, there's a formal public hearing next Wednesday. It's at our new office building that's accessible by the Navy Yard. It's at 6:30 p.m. And the second floor in the boardroom. But if you can't make it, there's a lot of ways to provide comments, and our board never turns away comments. It doesn't matter how you send them. If you want to give those to us orally tonight, you'll have the opportunity to do that. If you want to give them to me in writing tonight, you can do that. You can email them to lmanley@dcwater.com. You can fax them in, 787-2795, or you can mail them. We'll take your comments any way you want to give them to us. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Gaddis. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Great job. Thank you, Matt. Before we get to the Q&A, I just had a couple of other things I wanted to touch upon. Some of the challenges we have at DC Water, and they are true challenges that we have on a day-to-day basis. We have an aging infrastructure. We have pipe in the ground that dates back to 1853. The average year of the pipe that we have in the ground is 79 years old. Average, 79 years old. So we have an aging infrastructure that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. We can produce the most pristine water we want to at the Washington Aqueduct. But once that water gets into this aging infrastructure, things can happen. And we're trying to make sure that does not happen. So for the first time ever, we replaced 1% of the pipe in DC this year. In the past, there's been whatever issue has come up, we've had to divert money here or here in order to take care of other things, but this year we put that money into the pipes this year, and we're going to do that in the future as well for the residents here in DC. Rates and bills, they're going to continue. There's no way you can run a utility without an increase, but our goal is to make it as painful as possible to the residents. And our goal is, if it's 5.7%, we'd love to be back here next year talking about we've reduced it to 4% or 3%. That's what we're attempting to do. I know some people, especially people like Matt, our CFO says, ooh, he cringes when I talk about it in that fashion. But we want, that is my goal, and that's what I'm pushing our team to do, to try and reduce the rates versus where we have the 10-year mark at for the next 10 years, where should we be? Clean Rivers Project, this is a quarter mandate project. We can't do much about this, but we'll talk about how we're going to approach this challenge on the next slide. And we only have one source of water. For those of you that don't know this, the Washington Aqueduct is our only source of water that we have in DC. And what that means is that if something happens at the Washington Aqueduct or something happens in the Potomac, we only have 36 hours of water. That's what we have here in DC, 36 hours of water. That's on a good day. I would say that's during the months of November, December, January, February, and maybe March. When visitors start coming, kids get out of school, it's less than 36 hours. So it is something that we're attempting to tackle. We look at these as opportunities. As a result of that, what I'm trying to do and what we're trying to do is position the authority to be in a place that can face these challenges as we move forward as an organization. That's what we're attempting to do. That's why we make some of the moves that we make and try and move people around and get people to work together and interact together that have never maybe really worked together. And to also make sure that we tear down silos in the organization and that everybody is respecting each other and what they have to do. We've created two new basically branches or clusters within the organization, our strategy and transformation group and our performance group. And I talked about those a little bit earlier. In order for us to get to where we want to be, we have to be able to lay out a roadmap of how to get there. And that's our strategic plan. We're now taking a look at the consent decree. Under Bijou George's leadership, Bijou, if you'll wave your hand, Bijou is our COO, and I've asked Bijou to take a look at reopening the consent decree and see if we can bring forward some modifications to ease the burden on our customers as we move forward. So Bijou is fast at work on that and working on that as we speak. And then studying the one source issue. This feeds into the court order mandate issue as well, but we're looking at the potential long-term solutions. We've had some solutions given to us. Those solutions say if implemented, they would not be online until 2050. That's not fast enough for me. We got to get there quicker. So we're looking at other solutions to get to a dual source within DC is what we're looking to try and do. So that ends our presentation. The floor is open for questions. It becomes your meeting now, and Matt will come forward, and Matt will answer the hard questions. I will answer the easy questions, okay? So if you want to know what day it is or those sort of things, you can ask me, but tough questions we'll ask Matt, okay? And then if you could wait until my faithful assistant, Lisa Barton, gets to you with the microphone before you ask your question so everyone can hear your question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle and I live in Ward 7. And I wanted to know, will you explain how the stakeholder alliance works?
Yeah, I'll take a shot at it, and then Matt and Vince can jump on it as well. The way the Stakeholder Alliance Group works is we went to the 8 council members, and we asked them to give us names and recommendations of individuals in each of their wards that could serve on this group with us. We then also went to the Chamber, AOBA, and other institutions or organizations, not-for-profits in the community, and asked them if they had anyone that they wanted to give us. We wanted to keep the number to about 20 to 22, somewhere in there, 25, in order so we could have a great working group. And it has worked out well from that standpoint. This is not a new board of directors. They don't govern us or anything like that. This is just an opportunity for them to come, for us to put together an agenda and really talk about the things that are relating to water in their community that they want to bring forward. So as a result, affordability, or the CREAC, was one of the things they wanted to talk about. We spent a lot of time on that. One of the other things that we have these different groups that kind of go off on their own, have discussions, and they come back and report through the main group. And so we have these subcommittees, and some of them that it includes customer service, I think, Vince, and finance, and water quality. So these are subgroups that these people that are really interested in some of these things, they go off and talk when they come back, and then we try and come up with solutions to whatever the issue may be. So was that helpful? Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, you can hold the mic, it's fine. Hi, I'm PK. I live here in Ward 7. It was a nice little walk over here, actually. So I was listening to the, this one I suppose is for the CFO. So you were talking about shifting the CREAC situation away from single-family homes and toward multifamily homes, which I get the concept of that, but it also seems like it's a disproportionate shift from people who are less well off to people, or from more well off to less well off, because a single-family home in Ward 5, shall we say, I have the feeling is going to do a little bit better than someone in a two-bedroom apartment in Ward 5, especially when you get around here. I'll tell you that the people with single-family homes are doing better than the people who are living in apartments. So there's got to be a different metric to shift the burden here, because I feel like you are shifting it away from people who have moved to the wharf that everyone seems to be so very proud of, and toward the people who can never afford to live there in 1,000 years. So if we thought about alternative ways of shifting the CREAC around so that, because I understand that it's a federal mandate, that there's only so much accountability be darned, that there's only so much that can be done with that, but it feels like perhaps that a shift around, perhaps something with the socioeconomic status of the wards in question might be a better metric. Thoughts?
Thanks, sure. The Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge and paying for those tunnels is a long-term problem. I mean, it's something that the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge started at I think $1.24 in 2009 and has grown every year to pay for this program. I think we all wish that we could get the federal government to pay more. There've been some proposals about the district government paying more. We're trying to find a longer-term solution. I mean, one of the things that I mentioned is the Stakeholder Alliance spent a lot of time on this solution. They're still working on some longer-term solutions to try to do something. I mean, one of the solutions Mr. Gaddis talked about is one that's being led by Bijou George to try to see what we can do about the consent decree as a whole. Maybe stretch it out a little bit more, give us a longer time to pay. There's been a number of things that we've done from a financial perspective. Most of the money that we use to pay for the program is borrowed. We, as an organization, 3 or 4 years ago, issued bonds that are as long as 100 years, really trying to lower the debt service payments. With regard to the specific solution that we talked about tonight, it's one that we came about from spending time listening to members of the Stakeholder Alliance and our other customers. And the concern that I talked about earlier about equity, about a building with a lot more water usage, with a lot more families, using a lot more water, and that water contributing to the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. I can tell you there's no perfect solution. We certainly will listen. So if you have if you have ideas, we're more than welcome to talk about them. One of the things that we have to guard against is charging anything that looks like a tax. And so that's one of.
It is though.
Well, it's so when the federal government pays the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge, and they pay the fees that are passed on their water bill because they're done by measurement of water, measurement of the water meter, measurement of impervious area charge. If we started providing discounts to religious institutions or provided discounts based on age, that is something that looks more like a tax and is more likely for the federal government to challenge. The federal government pays something like $20 million a year for the Clean Rivers Impervious Area Charge. We don't want to put any of that at risk. We want to make sure that our rate structure stays solid so everybody continues to pay. That's one of the reasons why the two new CAP programs were not only adopted last year, but our board is taking action to extend them to next year. And in addition to, the district is also extending its nonprofit relief program. So we're doing what we can within the boxes that we have. If there are better ideas, we're exploring anything we can through the Stakeholder Alliance. I'm happy to have a conversation with you, anything that we can do.
Following up on the CAP situation that you're talking about, the River Smart Housing in particular, the DOEE, do you know how long the turnaround time on that is? Because I can tell you, I applied for that. I've lived here for 8 years. I bought a house April of 2018. I applied for that in August. They had someone sent out in September. And I have gotten crickets ever since. So any of these discount plans are purely theoretical, and the people in Ward 7 are going to continue to suffer when they apply for things that, if they don't show up, they may as well not exist. So it's a discount purely on paper.
Thank you. I can't speak on behalf of DOEE. I will certainly pass on your comments to the people I know there.
The one thing I would add to that, and Matt may be able to shore this up with better numbers, but the CAP program, what we've paid out thus far is in the multi-millions of dollars in the CAP program. So there are payments that are being made. I can only apologize that you're hearing crickets, but we want people to participate and get some of the monies that we have that we've put forth, and the mayor does too. And so she's made a contribution to the program as well from their side. So we want that to occur. The other problem with the Clean Rivers project or the CREAC itself is, one of the things that we're faced with is we have a math problem, and it's a pretty simple math problem. And the reason I call it a math problem is that we in DC have about 153,000 paying customers. And we have to spread the $2.7 billion for the consent decree across those 153,000 customers. Other major cities like DC, so let's take Cleveland, let's take Atlanta, Detroit. They have $2 billion consent decrees, but they have 500,000, 600,000, 800,000 customers to spread that across. So it's a lot less for them. And so that's what I say, that's why I call it a math problem for us. And so I will tell you, we have looked at every single thing that we can that can legally be done to try and spread this thing out. And Mr. George here tonight is going to continue to look at it even further for us to be able to take some of the burden off the ratepayers. But we respect and understand what you're saying 100%. But thank you for the question.
Hi. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Jamie Brown, and I'm here on behalf of the community that I live in. It's called Woodson Heights. I'm the president of our condominium association, and I know you all say water is life, but our situation is very unique. And I purchased my condo in like 2010, and we found out after, I guess, these charges, the 2016 water replacement, whichever one it is, I don't even know, but we have an 8x2 meter, and as a result of having that meter, we've been paying like that fee of like almost $1,900 a month. We only have 74 units on the property, but that meter only services 40 condominiums, and they're like apartment style and some townhouses. Like, we are in a financial crisis due to this fee. When we purchased in an affordable community, we never thought to say, hey, what size water meter do you have on the property? And now, I mean, we don't know if you guys are gonna come turn our water off any day because of the situation. And we've been trying to work with your office, DC, like everyone, and we just don't even know where to turn to. And we raised our dues 4 times. This was supposed to be an affordable community, and now the biggest bill that we have is the water bill, which it should be, but we never know if when we come home the water's gonna be off. And it's mainly due to the fee. We pay the water bill, but that extra $1,900 a month times what, like the 4 years? Just imagine how much money we owe you guys.
I understand.
And we've been trying to figure out what to do. It's been like a constant, this is what you need to do. No, you need to do this. Just switch the meter out. What do we need to do? We came to this meeting last year. We talked to some people. We don't know what to do at this point, and we don't have the money to pay it.
So here's what I will suggest. First of all, I'm sorry, and I understand what you're saying, and no one should have to live thinking about when they come home if their water's going to be on. So that's not the way that we want to run the authority, and we want people to live in DC. So I apologize for that, and so we will do whatever we can to help you. Secondly, what I would tell you is you are the lady holding the mic there. If you will get with her after the meeting is over with, and also Mr. Curd back here that's in charge of customer service as well, they will help you and work through the issue and go through that. And I'm going to also keep my finger on the pulse on this. Lisa works for me, so she will make sure that I know what is going on regarding your situation as we move forward. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank
These
you.
town halls are a great way to engage the community, and looking forward, do you plan on doing them again next year?
You said, is that a question?
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. We are, you know, this is unique for us as an organization because, as you know, we only have to do them every 2 years because we set the rates for 2 years. There was a slight change because of the shift and everything, so we didn't have to actually really do it, but I said I wanted to do it, you know, because I think as an authority and as a utility, we should engage the public. I wanted to get out and I wanted to hear what the public had to say about how we do business and the way that we do it. And, you know, at the end of the day, we cannot get better if we don't listen and hear what people have to say. And so I encourage our team. That's why you see so many DC Water folks in the room tonight, is because I've encouraged the team to come out and listen to what listen to what the public has to say, and then we've got to go back and make the changes that we need to make in order to serve the customers here in the DC metro area. That's our job. That's who pays the bills for us, and they deserve that, and we're going to deliver that on a day-to-day basis. So thank you, though, for the question. Any other questions? Going once, going twice, gone. All right. I want to close with the following. You know, we as an authority and we as DC Water, a number of us live in the community. We're a part of the community, and you know, I will tell you, being in this business, and especially being a third-generation water guy, you know, my grandfather working in the business from 1932 to 1962, my dad working in the business from 1962 until 2002, and this holds a special place in my heart to be able to work in this industry because we, as water professionals, everyone that works for DC Water and works in this profession, we are giving back to the community every single day. And I don't have a problem with telling you this story. The individuals, the men and women at DC Water, they are the true heroes in my heart and in my mind on a day-to-day basis. What they do, you know, the young lady here talked about water is life. But what they do on a day-to-day basis in delivering our the most essential resource that we have, which is water, they give it their all. So many times in the wintertime, there's without a doubt, the water main's gonna break in the hours of 2, 3, 4 in the morning when we're all asleep and we don't know it. All we know is that we wake up the next morning and you turn the water and it comes running. But it's because of the men and women at DC Water that get that done on a day-to-day basis. So I applaud them for what they do on a day-to-day basis. And this is a special industry that I'm blessed to work in, and this is a special community that I'm blessed to work in as well. And it's a special utility that I'm blessed to lead. And I take that very, very seriously. So I thank you all very, very much for coming out this evening. And please drive safely home and enjoy some of the food before you leave. Thank you very much.